Hey everyone, welcome back. Today I'm going to be reviewing Transformers 2 Revenge of the Fallen. The second Transformers movie is extremely underwhelming and copies a lot of elements from the first movie. This movie distracts the audience with its big, cool action scenes from the fact that the story is a hollow attempt to redo the first movie storyline. The intro premise is that the Autobots are working with humans to find and kill remaining Decepticons. The Decepticon they were taking down says the Fallen will return. The Fallen is one of the original Transformers that created the new main alien artifact of the movie called the Matrix of Leadership, which is ironic because it's clear there is no leadership in sight regarding this film. The fact that Fallen is a verb shows that not only does Michael Bay not know how to structure any sort of story whatsoever, but he also doesn't understand proper English, which honestly explains the fucking dialogue in these movies.
Genius.
This movie is clearly another Michael Bay Transformers movie. It continues the same shit from the first one, only it's mostly worse. It's just genuinely worse. Sam is trying to go off to college, and the college scenes are just absolutely atrocious. Every scene in the beginning portion of the movie that involves Sam, his parents, and the college setting scenario is just absolute insanity. Sam picks up a shard left from the cube when he's trying to get ready for college, and all of a sudden activates and shoots all of this information into his head, which is the map to where the Matrix of Leadership is. It gets really hot, and it falls through the floor, and starts to activate all of his goddamn kitchen appliances. I mean, the toaster, the blender, the fucking vacuum cleaner just straight up has rocket launchers. And honestly, just the whole time, I'm just thinking, why does any of this need to be happening? Why can't he just find the shard and just, like, put it in his pocket and it'll be relevant later? But no, we can't just have a normal, simple scene of just batshit crazy dialogue. We need something extra. This is a Michael Bay film. If something extra can be put in, we must have it. So, naturally, the first time we see Sam, it just straight up escalates to a Bumblebee bombing their house and just ruining the yard yet again. I hate to say it, but I want to say the Fountain even got more of a character arc than Sam in this movie. And it's not just in the beginning portion, sometimes throughout the middle and the end. This movie just has so many shots, just quick shots, like a second or less, of things that just don't need to be there, of things that just aren't important, or just completely unnecessary, or just downright out of pocket, and it just doesn't make sense. While just like the first movie, this beginning section is extremely basic and just overly long as fuck with just chaotic, dumb shit, I'd have to say for certain that Sam's mom has to be one of the most unhinged characters I've ever seen in a PG-13 movie. She's absolutely insane. When Sam is going to college and meets his eccentric conspiracy theorist roommates, Sam's mom eats a pot cookie and is just turned into a straight psychopath. All of those scenes just could have been cut, and it's just completely unnecessary. Sam starts having these weird visions and mental breakdowns, if you will, seeing all these alien symbols, and he doesn't know what that shit's about, but he's like, oh, I bet it has to do with the cube, but it has to do with the Autobots, but it has to do with the Transformers, because, I mean, what else would it have fucking been from? So thankfully, one of the last scenes at college is a very classic thing, and we can't have a college movie without a college party. So Sam is there, and he's being hit on by this, like, random chick, and she is not letting up. He is clearly not into it, and it's honestly a little bit uncomfortable at times. But I have to say with certain that this is when we get the best line in the movie, and it's so stupid, but I just love it.
A friend of mine, he just went to get you a tighter shirt. There isn't a tighter shirt. We checked.
So Sam gets in his car and tries to back up, and the hot chick barges in. So she's in the car with him, and he's just like, I don't have time for you. Fucking stop, please. And it just escalates to another scene of just pure chaos. And for some reason, Bumblebee is not having her either. And he just fucking slams her head into the dashboard. Like, no concussion whatsoever. And it's just no rational reason to need to do that at all. And it gets worse because then all of a sudden, out of the dashboard, I don't know cars. I'm going to be honest, I don't know cars. So if this is something they can do, then by all means, okay. But it starts pissing this weird, oozing yellow liquid all over. And she's pissed. I'm confused. I'm like, this is nasty. Why is this happening? What was the reason for this? There is no reason other than the fact that it made her mad and leave the car, which I guess thank God she's out of the scene. But like, what the fuck? We're far enough into this movie that something should be happening, and really not a whole lot has. And there's some stuff with the military and Decepticons, but it isn't really amounting to anything yet. And a lot of times these beginning portions are just very slow and just drawn out to have just the stupidest shit possible. So throughout the beginning portion, while Sam is having aneurysms at college, the Decepticons are gathering information and eventually find out where Megatron is and use, and I don't get this part, and I don't know if anyone does, but to use a leftover shard from the cube, you know, the thing that actually killed Megatron, and they put it into his chest and it brings him back to life. I don't know if I'm ever going to be able to understand that, but I don't have to because I don't care enough about it. So Megatron is resurrected, he flies up and instantly shoots into space to go meet with Starscream and the Fallen on some sort of ship in space. I don't know. And the Fallen tells him that he needs the boy and the information to find the Matrix of Leadership, and only a Prime can kill the Fallen. So Megatron's main goal is to get the boy and the information and to kill Optimus Prime, so the Fallen has no one left to stand in his way. So Megan Fox wants to surprise Sam, so she flies out to the college, and when she visits him, she sees that he's making out with this hot chick that, once again, barged into his room and is completely invading his space. She comes back because she hears a commotion, and surprise, she's this absolutely insane, creepy, disgusting Decepticon thing. And, side note, I do have to give them props, because apparently it took them, like, a year to animate the fact that she transforms from, like, a human shape into the robot. So, props to that. It looks amazing. So they're running from her, and eventually one of the Decepticons is, like, this helicopter, and it just straight up, like, picks up the car that Megan Fox, Sam, and his, like, dumbass roommate are in. And they're just picking up a car, and they're just literally flying in the air. And then they're just dropped straight through a fucking building. They're all alive. They're all completely fine. No, not even scathed. Nothing. They're fine. So Megatron tries to steal the information of where to find the Matrix of Leadership out of Sam's head, but it kind of just transitions into a fight scene. They make their way to a forest area where the budget would be lowered to have a fight scene, of course, and Optimus, he fights a good battle. I have a little bit more respect for him to 1v3 all of these Decepticons, but eventually he gets killed, and it's kind of surprising, and honestly, much like the rest of this movie and the franchise, a lot of shit just doesn't mean anything and has little to no consequences. Once Optimus is dead, the Fallen and Megatron and other Decepticons come to Earth to continue their plan. So they go to Simmons, and they try and have him be useful, but he's really not. He's kind of just there. And Megan Fox uses this toy truck she's had trapped in, like, a box for most of the movie. And he basically tells them that, oh, yeah, you find a Decepticon, he can tell you where the fucking shit is and where the Matrix and Leadership is. So they go to a museum, they activate a plane, it's a Decepticon, but he's so old, and I guess he just happened to want to switch sides, that he's okay with not killing them. And I guess he's so old that he even has like a transformative cane that he uses, and he's just constantly dropping parts and shit everywhere. Honestly, he's so hysterical and has clearly so much dementia that he just can't even really scramble in a fairly coherent sentence, but eventually gathers them up and just teleports. They just teleport. No one explains it. It just happens. And they teleport to this desert, okay? And it's around some of the pyramids of Egypt. And so finally Simmons has the balls to be like, "Yo, speak. Answers, go." And then he finally tells them this big old backstory about the Fallen. And then he says, "Yeah, the Matrix of Leadership should be somewhere around here."
Genius.
They soon find it, and when Sam tries to pick it up, it just, poof, turns to fairy dust, okay? But he still tries and shoves it all in a sock, I think, and he wants to keep it just in case it still works, because, I mean, even they don't even know how this fucking Transformers magic is supposed to happen, but they're supposed to conjoin in this small desert village with the military, and they're going to drop Optimus off so Sam can revive him with the Matrix of Leadership. So clearly the final battle is about to start. Optimus is still dead, but he's in the desert, and Sam and Megan Fox are trying to make their way there. Autobots are fighting Decepticons, the military is shooting their shit, which still isn't doing anything. There's just constant death and explosion everywhere, as Michael Bay does. But there's like these construction robots, and they all kind of form together in kind of a cool fashion to create the Devastator Decepticon, which is basically like the Megazord, but for Decepticons, if you will. And it's kind of cool, but of course they can't have a reasonable aspect from this. So of course he has two wrecking balls as fucking ball sacks on a Transformer.
Genius.
Sam eventually gets close to Optimus, but gets blown up. He dies for a minute, but when he goes to Transformers Heaven, he sees the original Primes, and they tell him that he is worthy of the Matrix. So Sam is basically Transformers Thor. And apparently it was his destiny to find the Matrix of Leadership and save Optimus? What? His destiny?
Are you sure about that?
There is literally no mention of any character arc to begin with in this movie, let alone his ultimate purpose and destiny. So he gets revived from Transformers Heaven, and he wakes up and revives Optimus. Then, out of Michael Bay's ass, the Fallen just teleports in. Maybe like 5 seconds after the Fallen teleporting in, the movie wraps up in a span of 3 minutes.
I got you for 3 minutes.
The Fallen activates the beacon in the pyramid. Jetfire kills himself to give Optimus a jetpack. Optimus flies over, destroys the beacon, and he fights Megatron. He flies off, then fights the Fallen and kills him in the most brutal fashion. Yeah, it clearly starts in this movie, but the fights and deaths in this franchise get extremely brutal from this point onward. The movie ends maybe about 30 seconds later, and they try and do another Optimus speech, but it's honestly not as interesting or memorable this time. Well, there's only a few things I actually enjoyed about this movie, so let's start with the first one, which is the fights, which is kind of part of the visuals, but they had a lot better fighting choreography and had a lot more unique fighting styles in this one from the first movie. The second thing would clearly be the visuals. Yeah, there's some of the same Autobots and Decepticons, but the visuals still maintain being really good. Not only for the Transformers, but some of the fight scenes were still pretty cool, despite always being over the top. The Autobots and Decepticons still kind of maintain being shallow characters and not really doing a whole lot, but they have more of a presence in this one, and you have characters dying and coming back and actually having a plan, despite it just being a rehash of the first movie. I'd say for the most part, once again, all the human characters are pretty much pointless and don't really impact the story much at all. Sam just goes on another mission like the first movie. The movie really doesn't have any strong story to tell, has no character arcs, has some of the weirdest dialogue at random times, and I mean, the Fallen is supposed to have his revenge, but he's never in the movie to do so. They also resurrected Megatron just to do so, since they have no other villains to work with, and they're like, oh fuck, we killed him in the last movie. Even Steve Jablonsky has his soundtrack toned down in this one. Like, it's still great, don't get me wrong, but it's just used so much less throughout the movie, which is unfortunate since it's probably the only actual good thing about the film. There's honestly so much wrong with this that you kind of just have to watch the movie for yourself. I don't even know how to explain it. There's just so much dramatic, chaotic, absolute insanity going on all the goddamn time. This movie was not just a disappointment to fans for a sequel to the first Transformers movie, but it was a disappointment in every single other aspect of filmmaking. It's honestly just, it's just so bad. I don't know if Michael Bay follows any story structuring in these movies, but I noticed a pattern even after just the second movie. It's that every Transformers movie is the same. Not because they're doing traditional story points, but because it's always the same shitty premise. The Decepticons want the new alien object to make a new Cybertron or destroy Earth, and the Autobots and humans have to stop them.
You stop that.
And the pacing is also always bad. They're all overly long as fuck. The beginning always has endless stupid shit to set up characters, the middle portion has them working with the Autobots, and by the end it's a giant battle with death, chaos, and insanity. And it always ends the exact same way, with a sweaty sunset scene with a speech by Optimus that gets more forgettable each time. With 2.5 hours of my life wasted and many revelations about this entire franchise, you know, it feels fitting that I think I'd give this movie a writer's strike out of 10. That's going to just about wrap up my review of Transformers Revenge of the Fallen. I hope you guys enjoyed, and if you did, feel free to like, subscribe, and comment down below if you guys enjoyed this movie at all, and stay tuned for more movie reviews in the future. Until then, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you later.